My husband had been abroad for many years. At first, I used to wait for his calls, his letters, and the promises he made of returning soon. But as the days turned into months, and the months stretched into years, that wait slowly hollowed me from inside. I found myself sitting by the window at night, staring into the dark sky, searching for answers that never came. Loneliness has a way of whispering into the heart, planting desires that are hard to ignore. In the beginning, I tried to keep myself strong. I told myself that love is about patience, that loyalty means sacrifice. But no one ever tells you how heavy silence becomes when it follows you into every corner of your home. Every meal I cooked, every festival I celebrated alone, every bed I lay down in without him beside me, it all became a reminder that I was living half a life. And then, slowly, I began to notice the warmth in the eyes of another. It started innocently. A neighbor who would help with groceries, a friend who would ask if I was okay, a smile that lingered a moment too long. I never thought I would even allow my heart to bend in that direction. But temptation never announces itself with a loud knock. It seeps in quietly, through small gestures, through the comfort of being seen and heard when you've long been invisible. The first time I let myself lean into that comfort, it felt like a betrayal. I remember lying awake that night, guilt gnawing at me, yet at the same time a strange sense of relief washing over me. For the first time in years, I felt alive again. I felt like a woman, not just a wife abandoned to waiting. And that feeling, once tasted, is difficult to let go. The days that followed carried a weight I couldn't ignore. Every time I crossed paths with him, there was a silent pull, a tension that neither of us dared to name. I tried to distract myself with chores, with routine, with anything that could keep my mind from drifting back to the warmth I had felt in those fleeting moments. But the truth was undeniable. My loneliness had cracked something inside me, and through that crack, light had found its way in, though it came from the wrong place. I told myself it would end there, that it was just a slip, a weakness of the heart. But destiny, or perhaps desire, had other plans. One evening, the power went out in the neighborhood. The air was thick with darkness and silence, broken only by distant murmurs and the sound of crickets. He knocked on my door, offering a lantern, his voice carrying the calm assurance I had missed for years. I hesitated, knowing that even small kindness now carried a hidden meaning. But my hands reached out, and as they brushed his, I felt a current surge through me. Inside the dim light, conversations became longer, laughter easier, and silences more comfortable. The emptiness that had lived with me for so long began to shrink, replaced by something dangerously addictive. I knew it wasn't right. Every glance I exchanged with him was a secret, every smile a stolen piece of forbidden fruit. Yet the more I resisted, the deeper I sank. One night, as rain poured heavily outside, he stayed longer than usual. The sound of water against the roof seemed to drown out the voice of reason inside me. When his hand reached for mine, I didn't pull away. I should have, but my body betrayed my heart. That single touch spoke louder than words, a confession neither of us had the courage to say aloud. I don't know whether it was love or desperation, but I knew my life had crossed a line that could never be erased. And yet, in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, a sense of being wanted, cherished, and alive. After that night, nothing felt the same. The air between us was charged, heavy with unspoken truths. Every time he walked past my gate, my heart would race, afraid the neighbors might notice the way our eyes lingered. I tried to convince myself it was just a passing weakness, a temporary distraction from the emptiness I had carried for years. But the truth was far more complicated. I had crossed into a place where guilt and desire lived side by side, and both consumed me in equal measure. The mornings felt different. I would catch myself humming while making tea, smiling without reason. Yet, in the quiet moments, shame would creep in, whispering questions I didn't dare to answer. Was I betraying my husband, or had he betrayed me first by leaving me alone for so long? Did loyalty mean waiting forever, or was it about keeping my heart alive, even if in the wrong arms? The secret grew heavier with every stolen glance, every late-night meeting, when the world slept. I realized I was living two lives, one in the daylight, where I pretended to be the faithful wife still waiting, and another in the shadows, where I allowed myself to feel again. It was dangerous, intoxicating, and terrifying all at once. There were moments when I thought about ending it, about shutting the door before it opened any further. But whenever I saw him, all my resolve melted away. The way he looked at me, as though I wasn't invisible anymore, as though I mattered, it filled a void I could no longer deny. Loneliness had carved deep scars in me, and he had unknowingly found the key to every wound. Still, I knew this path had no happy ending. Every step deeper into this bond was a step closer to a truth that could destroy everything. And yet, despite knowing the danger, I couldn't stop myself. For the first time in years, I wasn't merely surviving, I was living. The weight of what we had built soon became too heavy to carry in silence. Nights that once felt thrilling began to fill with worry. What if someone saw us? What if word reached my husband? The thought of his voice on the phone, filled with suspicion or anger, haunted me more than I wanted to admit. And yet, even that fear wasn't strong enough to erase the hunger that had taken root in me. There came a day when he asked me what I truly wanted. His eyes searched mine, not for desire this time, but for clarity. Did I see him as just a comfort in my loneliness, or was there more between us than stolen moments? I couldn't answer. My heart was torn in ways words could not explain. I still loved my husband in some quiet, buried corner of my soul, but I also knew the woman I had become was not the same as the one he had left behind. Time had changed me. Loneliness had reshaped me. Every meeting after that felt more fragile, as though we were walking on glass. I began to notice the smallest things, the way neighbors paused a little too long, the curious looks that lingered. Secrets are never safe for long, and ours was beginning to tremble under the weight of reality. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in shades of fire, I realized that what I feared most wasn't discovery. It was the silence that would follow if this ended. For so long, I had lived in emptiness, and now that I had tasted connection again, the thought of losing it felt unbearable. And yet, deep inside, I knew the truth. This was not a love story meant to last. It was a moment, a fragile chapter written in the margins of a lonely life. My heart had betrayed and been betrayed, and in that betrayal, I had rediscovered what it meant to feel human again. When I lay down that night, staring at the ceiling, I whispered to myself the one thing I had never admitted aloud. Sometimes, love and infidelity are separated by only a heartbeat. And once that line is crossed, nothing is ever the same again.